The 600 Supersport class is arguably the most competitive series in the AMA, and Freddie, I don't think I'll get a lot of argument on that subject out of you either.
No, you won't. In fact, it's getting more and more competitive. This class is so important to the manufacturers for its research and development, and also to really promote their 600 bike, because in sport bikes today, for the street, that's probably the strongest bike, and it makes great for the riders. I think the riders really enjoy riding the 600s.
So as we headed to the first race of the season, Miguel Duhamel was once again favored. However, with newcomers like rookie Nicky Hayden and class rookie Doug Chandler, Duhamel would have his work cut out for him.
Round one of 600 Supersport at Phoenix. It was Jason Pridmore who cut out to an early lead. Then Ben Bostrom passed on the inside, coming down into turn one. Aaron Yates moves up in the second. Then Doug Chandler works his way to the front for the lead.
Yates and Chandler battled it out until the very end. And in traffic, though, Doug Chandler managed to make just a little bit better move onto the banking, come drafting by as Aaron Yates was balked in traffic at the finish line, and it was Doug Chandler in his 600 debut earning the first win of the season.
Round three of 600 Supersport at Laguna Seca is Doug Chandler getting a great start coming down the hill into turn two. But Miguel Duhamel was not going to let him break away as he passes him under braking. Next lap under heavy braking back down into turn two. Miguel Duhamel gets up the inside, but that running wide allows Doug Chandler to get by him.
Nevertheless, these two would continue to fight for the victory throughout the race. Neither one able to get a clear advantage. Miguel Duhamel going inside there. And while these two were battling, it allowed both Nicky Hayden and Ben Bostrom to catch up to Miguel Duhamel. But by this point, Doug Chandler had gotten the best of the battle and was sailing on to victory.
Round four of Willow Springs is Doug Chandler who takes the lead, but the Bostrom brothers close in. Eric Bostrom is able to pass for the lead, and Chandler struggles and drops back to fifth position.
A four-way battle for the lead. Nicky Hayden is able to catch up, and stalking Eric Bostrom on this wide open and windy Willow Springs track passes for the lead. Trying to come back, Eric Bostrom runs wide, throws his bike away, and hands the victory to Nicky Hayden.
Round five, 600 Supersport at Sears Point. It's Eric Bostrom who leads early with Duhamel and Crevier behind. But Doug Chandler moves into second until he blows an engine. Eric Bostrom, the early leader, begins to fade.
But Nicky Hayden took over the point position, and in a great two-up battle with defending champion Miguel Duhamel, these two were giving the Sears Point crowd their money's worth. It went right down until the last lap, until Nicky, with a desperation move, high-sided the bike, handing the victory to Miguel Duhamel. But then in a show of sportsmanship, after the win, Miguel Duhamel returned to the scene of the accident, picked up young Nicky Hayden, and gave him a ride back to the pits. With 5 races down, it was Miguel Duhamel in the lead with 155 points. Steve Crevier was a close second, just 15 back. Class rookie Doug Chandler was third, while Ben Bostrom sat in the 4th spot. But rookie sensation Nicky Hayden rounded out the top 5 with 118 points. So, Nicky, here you are, a rookie, an AMA rookie, racing against guys that, if I may say so, are probably your heroes, and you're beating them. That had to be a thrill.
Right, for sure. I mean, I've always been a Doug Chandler fan, and the big thing for me was just getting comfortable with him, I mean, I didn't want to do nothing stupid and knock one of them guys out. I know they're all going for the championship, and I just wanted them to kind of respect me and try to be safe around them and not do nothing too stupid.
Well, Nicky, talking about a racing incident at Sears Point, on the last lap, you were going head-to-head with the defending champion, and you high-sided. And then he came around and picked you up on the victory lap. What were you thinking when the incident happened and then when he picked you up?
Well, I mean, that's racing. That's part of, I guess, being 16. You don't make some moves that you probably should, but my confidence was so high at the time, and I'd come off a couple race wins, and I just didn't want to lose and was pushing really hard and just made a mistake. But, you know, I learned from it, and hopefully I don't make it again. And then when he picked me up, you know, which was pretty cool, so, you know, that happens.
I think we have to call that a Kodak moment. We'll have more of them because when we come back, we'll take a look at the second half of the 1998 600 Supersport season. Stay with us.
Round 6 of 600 Supersport at Road Atlanta. It's Miguel Duhamel who takes off to the early lead. And Ben Bostrom, he passes late on the brakes to get by Miguel. Doug Chandler would take the lead for a short while until he touched the front end and throws it away.
Late in the race, Miguel Duhamel took a rock in the radiator on his F3 Honda, giving the lead to teammate Ben Bostrom. Ben would then lead Steve Crevier to the finish line and take the win. Round 7 of 600 Supersport brought the AMA circuits to Road America, with Doug Chandler taking the early lead. But Miguel Duhamel soon shot inside to take over the front position. 4 wide across the racetrack. Ben Bostrom in the lead. Eric Bostrom goes wide, wiggles it into the turn, but manages to come out, almost taking the lead. Instead, he ran wide and dropped back into 6th position. Miguel Duhamel going to the point, and once again into the same late-breaking turn. Ben Bostrom with the outside move, makes a wiggle, but gets the pass. Doug Chandler, though, in his rookie season aboard the 600, showing why he is a 3-time champion. Ben Bostrom wiggling once more, but Doug Chandler, looking back at those who would chase him, goes on to take the victory. While the 600 series was in Loudon, New Hampshire for round 8, Miguel Duhamel had a serious injury in a practice crash. Now, many riders have long commented on the safety issues at these modified oval-style racetracks. And Freddie, what are your thoughts on this type of configuration for motorcycle racing?
Well, I understand the reason why that the AMA goes to those events, because most of the newer racetracks that are built in the United States now have ovals in them because of NASCAR racing. And then they try to configure a road course somewhere in the style of the track to make it feasible. As a rider, though, you're always concerned about not having a way out or runoff. And in fact, at Loudon last year, I raced there in '95, I had a crash where I shouldn't even been anywhere near a wall, and the bike ended up right next to the wall and caused some problems. So from a rider standpoint, we have to be concerned about the safety, but I understand why the AMA are going there, because that is what the choices are.
Good point. After Loudon, the 600 series headed back to Laguna Seca. Round 9 of 600 Supersport in the friendly confines of Laguna Seca Raceway. Doug Chandler leading early, but Aaron Yates loses it at the top of the corkscrew and slides out of the race. Meanwhile, Nicky Hayden and Steve Crevier were battling for position, and these two would go side by side throughout the race. The youngster and his veteran rival, neither one able to get the best of another. On evenly matched machines, this race alone gave the crowd their money's worth, with Hayden backing it in and Steve Crevier watching, probably slack-jawed in amazement. All the way to the finish line, these two would go, but their battle would allow Doug Chandler to pull away for yet another victory aboard his Kawasaki. Round 10 at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and Tommy Hayden, the older brother of Nicky, goes out to the early lead, being pressured by Eric Bostrom. Nicky back in 4th position. Doug Chandler drops into 3rd. Eric making a pass, a short time into the lead, but soon it was Tommy Hayden back in front, this time being pressured by his younger brother. A few laps later, the muffler came loose on Tommy Hayden's Kawasaki and began sending a shower of sparks into the path of the riders behind him. Desperate to get by, Aaron Yates made a move, but got speared in the chest by the loose muffler. He was able to save it and keep on racing. The move allowed Steve Crevier to make a pass for the lead on the final lap. Hayden desperately trying to hold on, and then Aaron Yates falls and takes Nicky Hayden with him. Steve Crevier wins his first 600 Supersport race since 1992. Round 11 at Brainerd International Raceway. Once again, Doug Chandler taking the lead early, but Nicky Hayden cannot be forgotten. He soon took over the point, while the battle behind him was a tight one involving just about everyone else in the 600 Supersport class. Steve Crevier now contending for a championship, but not really riding cautiously as you would expect. Aaron Yates, the always aggressive one, goes for the lead with Nicky Hayden. But Steve Crevier takes advantage and moves into second position. Then, with Aaron Yates out in front, he runs off the racetrack just to get a little bit of dirt in his nose and goes on for the victory. Aaron Yates with a celebration wheelie, but Steve Crevier beginning to look like a championship contender. In the beginning of August, the AMA was scheduled to race round 12 at the Route 66 Raceway in Joliet, Illinois. However, safety concerns by the riders led to a last-minute cancellation of the event. Upon arriving, many riders expressed concerns about safety at that track. Now, Freddie, do you have to think that the move might have been partially motivated by the accident and the situation with Miguel the previous round at Loudon?
Absolutely. That's always what happens, is the results like that where they go to Joliet and make the decision not to race stem from usually what happens in effect. And with the crashes of Thomas Wilson and then, Miguel and the injuries that caused, you have to be concerned about that. Unfortunately, for Dale Coyne, who owns the track, a great guy, I think they would have tried to do more, but they didn't have the time. And that's where there has to be maybe a better system of homologating the tracks and preparing for events, because that's bad for the promoters, it's bad for the fans, it really hurts the manufacturers. That hurts everybody.
Well, the weather certainly slowed down their ability to improve and actually gave everybody time to make a decision. Nicky, what were your thoughts when you first arrived at the track and took a look?
Well, I got there kind of late. I rode Wednesday night in Rapid City dirt track, so I drove all night and got there late Thursday night. But as soon as I seen the track, I knew it was going to be really tough. And for riders, especially a young one who I plan on having a long career, if we kind of maybe stand up now and say, hey, we're not going to run on all these tracks, you're going to have to do something, that maybe now they're going to take us a little more serious. But, you hate to see it for the fans and all the teams who spent so much money to get there, and especially for the fans who, showed up Saturday morning wanting to know where the race was. A lot of them probably aren't going to come back, so it's a bad deal all the way around, but, hopefully it'll make it better in the long run.
Well, I'd have to agree with that. It was disappointing for all of us, but after the Route 66 disappointment, the AMA Tour soldiered on to a familiar ground. Pikes Peak International Raceway in round 12 of 600 Supersport. Larry Pegram, remember him? Goes out to the early lead. But Mike Ciccato had an accident that brought out a red flag and stopped the race. Even with this minor change in plans, Larry Pegram was not to be denied. He fought off pressure, first from Tommy Hayden, then from Eric Bostrom, and went on to score his first win of the 1998 season. Fresh off his win at Pikes Peak International, Larry Pegram would lead early in the final round in Las Vegas, but the real battle was for the championship, deeper in the pack between Doug Chandler and Steve Crevier. It wouldn't be long before Nicky Hayden would move to the front and assert himself in the lead. But Aaron Yates, ever aggressive, would come forward to challenge the youngster. Meanwhile, Chandler and Crevier carried on their championship battle. Yates and Hayden, the kings of backing it in, put on a show for the crowd at Las Vegas unlike any they had ever seen on pavement. Aaron Yates getting the advantage, and then Nicky Hayden taking it right back. The fight would go all the way to the finish, but Aaron Yates would get the best of it, winning the race. Steve Crevier would win the championship. So Steve Crevier took the championship over class rookie Doug Chandler. Eric Bostrom brought his Arian Racing Honda home third, while Nicky Hayden came home a strong fourth, and Ben Bostrom rounded out the top 5. Now, when we come back, we're going to have all the Superbike action from the 1998 season. So stick around.